audibletrial.com/talkitout. Sign up for a free 30-day trial of audible.com where you can listen to 1,800 books and get a free audiobook download. audibletrial.com/talkitout. Check it out.
All right, so today's episode is going to be about patriotism and 9/11, since 9/11 is going to be this week on Sunday, tomorrow.
Specifically.
And so I'm basically just going to ask you guys some questions, and then from there we can go off of that. All right. So how old were you guys when 9/11 started? Because this was in 2001.
We were all 8.
We should be, I'm about to say we should all be about the same age, like 8.
8.
In 3rd grade.
Do you remember when it happened or what happened?
Yeah.
Let Joy go first.
Okay. I remember I was in 8th grade, and I didn't know what happened. Nobody would tell me anything. They were just... An adult came into our classroom, and I remember our teacher, her name was Miss Holloway, and they came into her room. She started crying, and I didn't know what was happening, but I just know that all the teachers were outside in the hallways crying, and we were watching a movie. I was like, yay, go movie. And next thing I know, we were getting out of school, and I was excited to get out of school, and it was just a regular day for me until I got home, and my mom was like, I was like, we got out of school early, and she's like, yeah, babe, I know. And I was like, well, what happened? And she was like, some bad people did something really bad. I mean, that's really what she explained to me. It took me years to actually really know what exactly happened. Yeah, I know. Don't look at me like that, but it did. They really tried to keep us sheltered and away from that, and it took me at least to middle school to know what happened, in high school to really understand the effect of what happened. I know I was a little slow.
What about you, Gabby?
Well, I was in 3rd grade as well, and I was in my teacher, Miss Hargrove, class. We were sitting down in class, and she had this old radio player, and I think I can't remember all the logistics, but I know that she had ended up cutting it on, and they were saying something like a tower has fallen or something like that, a building has fallen or whatever. I just remember her being like real quiet. Everybody else was kind of just looking around. I obviously didn't know what was going on, and I really didn't understand till I went home, and then they kept showing it, 24 hours showing that, and I don't remember being scared. I really don't remember my feelings. I just remember being confused. And I think that day, that's when George Bush came on the TV, and he had that little speech thing, and he was like, quoted like Psalms 23 or something like that. And all of our family, we were just like hovered around the TV, just kind of just watching what was happening. And then I think when we came back, everybody started talking about it a little bit, and then I started getting a little scared because everybody else had, heard what their parents were talking about, saying these people were trying to come get us and all this stuff. So it was I freaked out a little bit then, but that's kind of all I remember. What about you, KT?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. My school didn't let out.
We didn't either.
Yeah, no, my school didn't let out, and all I remember is someone saying, the Twin Towers went down. And then that was it. Like, that's all. That's all I really remember.
I didn't even know what the Twin Towers were.
Yeah, no, right. my dad, when I got home, we were watching it on TV, but that's all I remember. Like, it didn't never faze me. I was never like, oh my God, 9/11, oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, I can't believe this happened or something like that, because it never applied to me, so I never really cared, I guess. And I know that's probably weird, but I guess I was someone as a kid that never was sympathetic enough.
Or you just didn't understand.
Or I just didn't understand, right.
We're 8.
I'm glad we're on the same page. I feel the exact same way. Like, everybody shares these deep stories about 9/11, and I'm just like, oh my God.
I mean, if they were a little bit older, like in middle school or something, I could understand.
Yeah, but maybe that. But like, we were just 8,
right?
So.
Yeah.
didn't even know where it was. I didn't even know if that was in America until they told me, and it's like, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty much.
I
Yeah.
didn't know what the Twin Towers were. I was like, what are the Twin Towers? And my
Right.
mom's like, it's buildings in New York. And she really didn't talk about it with me. And I guess that's because I was 8, and that means my sister was 6, and she was a single parent. So I didn't hear anything going on like you did, Gabby. You heard people, your mom and dad talking about it, but I didn't hear my mom and dad talking about it. If my mom talked about it, she probably waited till after we were in bed and talked to like her friend or somebody. But yeah.
So, do you guys think that, do you think you had, or did it have an impact on your life? I mean, for me, obviously, it did not, because it didn't really, either way, I was just like, okay, I guess. Like, either way, it didn't matter. But for you guys, did it impact how you look at certain people or certain groups of people?
Okay.
Hold on, let me. Okay, go ahead. Edit out.
Did it impact me? Let me just say, it impacted me later on in life.
How
And
so?
it didn't impact me like, I guess I feel like I'm using the wrong word. It didn't affect me like you would think it would. Like, oh, I hate these people. I can't believe these. Actually, when I really understood and I really learned, I felt so. I'll tell you what happened. This is what happened for me. It was 9/11, and it fell on a day we went to school, and I was in the 8th grade. And I'm not going to say her name, but it was this girl at school, and her last name was Muslim, and she is Muslim. And we were sharing our experiences, and I wasn't close to her in any way, but she was sharing her experience about 9/11 and how her and her brother can't cross the street, how they got called names and spit on. And she's like my age, and that just affected me so much, because I was like, what? I was like, what? And we just so happened to be in history class. And when she was telling her story, I could not believe it, and it just made me think about things that, African Americans went through, like during sit-ins and stuff, like being spit on and stuff. And I was just wondering, and I thought to myself, could I do that? Could I, stand strong like she was? And she was I don't even think she ever knew it, but she was such an inspiration to me, because she was just so strong. And she was like, I just have to keep going and make it myself an example that we're all not the same way. And that was in 8th grade.
Wow.
And that just blew my mind for me. That's how it impacted me later on. Like, at the time, I was 8. I didn't think about it. I was excited to get out of school. But when I started hearing people's stories and how America can turn on people, not even turn, but how America treats people, and how most of us are so eager to jump on the bandwagon just to get the attention away from us.
Right.
It's astounding to me, and it's hurtful, and oh my God, I'm gonna start crying.
No, Lord, don't cry. Anyway, go ahead, Gabby. How did it affect you, if it did at all? And has it changed the way you view other groups of people, Muslims or any other type of people, due to propaganda?
I mean, like I said, when I came back to school, as I said, in my school, it was like everybody's conservative, everybody's pretty much Republican, and they, they're all about war and this, and yes, George Bush, this, whatever you say is right. So whenever I get back to school, that's pretty much the sentiment. I mean, granted, everybody, no matter what political standing was, everybody wanted to get answers and wanted to, in a way, even get revenge for what had happened. But I remember going back to school, it was just I just remember a little bit of like animosity towards just people in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Not really. I can't remember anything specific, but I do remember it being like it was some animosity towards them, like those people over there, they hate us, this and that. Kind of starting like a fear type thing.
Right.
And
not starting. It started it.
Well, I'm talking about
She's
just in
one
my
for
school.
herself.
Oh yeah.
In school. For me personally, the only thing it's really affected is the plane thing. Like, even now, I'm not scared of a terrorist really, but I'm scared of planes anyway. But when I was younger, I was just afraid of getting in a plane and somebody hijacking the plane and crashing. So I think that stopped me too from getting on planes as well. The fear of that happening again, because it happened. Not only was the two World Trade Centers crashed, and then there was this other plane where I don't know if y'all have heard of it, but it was this guy. They were hijacking the plane, and he ended up taking control of, taking control of the plane and crashed it somewhere else. And I think I forget his name, but his tagline was like, "Let's roll." That's what he said before he got the plane and crashed it somewhere else. So it was like,
yeah, I do remember that
four
story.
different instances that I know of like these people conspiring together to do this all in one day. So yeah, so that kind of, it did cause fear in me in that way. But as far as towards Muslim people, maybe when I was younger I can't really remember.
I bet so at that school of yours.
I can't really remember. But now, of course, no, because you grow up and you understand there are bad apples in any group of people at all. If I don't want anybody judging me off of what some black people done did, then why should you judge somebody else over what some people that they're not even related to have done? So, yeah.
So, since you're bringing up school, and this isn't just about 9/11, how do you feel about standing and saying the pledge at school? How did that? Because to me, for myself, whenever I hated doing it. I didn't see the point. I felt like I was in a cult when I was a kid, because we'd always have to stand up and say the pledge, and I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and like it's like something that you're like conditioned to say from the time you're born, and you don't get the choice to be like, no, I don't want to do this. And if you do sit down, then you're looked at like you're some kind of monster.
You're a pariah.
Like why? And why is patriotism so important to us in our country?
Because is that the question you want to ask?
Yeah, that's a real question, because to me that it doesn't matter. Like I don't care. Like,
but I think it was sparked. That's something that it did change America. Ever since September 11th, people have been going hard on patriotism, especially in that first year or two. Everybody had an American flag. Everybody was wearing American clothes. So I think ever since then, it's kind of, the patriotism thing has kind of gone to the extreme level now, or more than how it was.
I just feel like it's too much. Like, I just don't care. Like, who cares if someone burns the American flag? It's their freedom. It's their right to do that. Who cares if you don't stand for the flag? That's your right. You can do whatever you want, Like, when
you think about it, it is kind of cultish. Like, it's supposed to be.
Yes.
I mean, you won't go to jail if you don't stand up to the flag, but people will be like, ooh.
Everyone shames you and looks at you like you're some kind of awful person for not standing up, or like whenever I don't know, like a lot of people will like burn the American flag when something really, really bad happens to a minority group of people, and then you have all these like Republican people or conservative folks, they're like, oh my God, how could you burn the American flag? That is dishonor on your mother, dishonor on your father,
dishonor on the cow.
On the cow. No, it's just too much for me. I just don't care. It's not that important. Patriotism is not that important.
Okay.
Somebody went ham.
Okay. Yeah, I did. Sorry, but
it's what patriotism that important? Like, oh God. Come on. I just face bumped myself in the head because this is crazy. I have never been asked that question, and now that I have, I've never thought I would feel this way, but I do. Like, oh my God, patriotism is important. It's not an extreme thing. It shouldn't be an extreme thing, I don't think. Patriotism isn't so important. It's so important. Okay, like when we say the Pledge of Allegiance in school, I never thought much about it, and now everybody's making a big deal about it. Like, should we? My son or my daughter shouldn't have to say that, but if the Pledge of Allegiance is what America is supposed to be, it's supposed to be everybody of every color, of every nationality coming together and saying, hey, we love this country and we're going to treat each other great. And you should feel unified when you say that.
But that makes me feel like I'm in a cult. I don't want to feel unified.
Well,
I don't
no offense, but go live in a different country.
That's not a good, like, that's like saying that sounds like when those white people say go back to Africa if you don't like how America is. Like, that's so awful. Like, you shouldn't say that.
What I'm saying, you said you don't want to feel unified. If you don't want, the whole purpose of equality for when you talk about gender equality, when you talk about racial equality, economic equality, all the equalities in the world, you're speaking about feeling not only equal, but you want to feel unified with the people that you want equality to. Now you can make a face, KT, and say that you don't.
No, I don't though. But being
okay,
unified
so
and
let me just ask a question. So you as a woman do not want to feel equal to a man.
yes, I no. I don't want to feel equal to a man. I don't want to feel.
You don't want equality for men and women.
I want equality for everyone.
This is just an example.
So
flow with my example.
Hold
please.
on a second here. Let me define unity and let me define equality for myself first. So unity, the state of being united or joined as a whole.
Yes.
Okay. So let me define equality. The state of being equal, especially in status, rights, and opportunities. Okay. So yes, I want everyone to be equal. Mm-hmm. Do I want us to be unified where we are all the same and we all have exactly the same things? No.
No. Nobody's saying that. When I say unified, I mean when we're talking about our country, mm-hmm. when we're speaking about, like in World War II, when Hitler was going crazy with the Nazis, and we say, for instance, if Germany and America had to go to war, which we did kinda, but what if we had to go to war? Now you're going to say you don't want to be unified in a war, which means you're on neither side, so you have no protection. Not only do you have no protection, but you how are the people who are supposed to stand by you supposed to trust you if you say you don't want to be unified with me?
Now, war is a totally different topic.
But that's what we're talking about. This is 9/11, and this is the topic: 9/11 and unity.
Patriotism.
Patriotism.
I don't feel that unity is important, and I'm sorry that you feel that it does, but I just don't. Like, it doesn't help me. What has America done for me?
What has America done for me? I'm black.
Nothing. Exactly.
Okay?
So why
I'm
is
black.
it important to you? Is my question.
Because if we ever want to reach, I'm sorry. Gabby, go, because
no. I like this.
She likes it. Yeah, I see her little face over there.
But if we ever want to reach like equality for ourselves, if I want to be seen as equal to a to a white person and not be judged for the color of my skin, once we get equality, then we should all be united in our front, together. Like, say for instance. This is it. This is my example.
Okay.
Me and my sister, we're totally different people. But when the time comes, we are united together because my mother always said, if she gets in a fight, I better be right there fighting with her. And if I get in one, she better be right there with her. Because we are unified in our, what do you call that?
Struggle?
Yes, in our struggle. together.
That's a good example, but
Together.
at the same time, if my sister gets into a fight, that's her fight. I'm sorry.
Ooh, I'm telling Tuesday.
I love you, Tuesday, but if you get into a fight, then that's your fight, babe, and I'm sorry.
So,
but if
okay.
I get into a fight, I don't expect her. That's just like if I'm struggling, I don't really expect her to struggle either.
No, hold on.
Okay, say something.
So
Say something.
Okay, so I agree with. The Pledge of Allegiance is kind of creepy. All this stuff is kind of creepy or whatever. I mean, and when it comes to like a war or something, and if somebody is like legitimately not like this fake stuff that they're spewing it, like somebody's legitimately trying to come to America and destroy what we got,
Like 9/11.
Yeah. Then I'm down for
I'm sorry, Gabby. I don't mean to be rude, but 9/11 was an inside job, and that's not just a conspiracy.
Stop.
Bush did 9/11. Bush did 9/11. But anyway,
a whole different topic.
We can get on that in a second. But let me finish my point.
I'm sorry.
What I was saying was, if something like that happened, where we were having a real threat, this country really was trying to come and infiltrate, I would 100% support the troops. I would help in any way I can to make sure that America is safe, because when it comes down to it, even though there's a lot of crazy stuff that I do not like, this is where I live at the moment, and I want to be safe, and I want my family to be safe, and the people that I love and know to be safe. So in that way, I will be unified, but don't expect me to say the Pledge of Allegiance or stand up for the national anthem.
Okay, that's your right.
Yeah.
That's your right. Do I think it's like Gabby Douglas, when her hand wasn't over her heart during the pledge? Was that it?
The national anthem.
The national anthem. Okay, let her hand not be on her heart. That's quite fine. She's still a USA Olympian and deserves to be treated as such.
Right.
You're still people, and you deserve to be treated as such.
I think.
But on the other
go
hand,
ahead.
when you do make the decision to say my child is not going to, if as far as the Pledge of Allegiance goes, I think you have to leave that up to high school children, whether or not they want to do that. Because when you're young, I think everybody should do it, because you really don't know.
Wrong answer.
Well. Okay.
No.
You really can't do that just for the simple fact that the teacher's gonna get mad. Even
Exactly.
if you
Well,
really
I'm
don't.
talking about the parents who specifically say my child is not going to do that because we don't believe in everything the government stands for. Okay, that's fine. But your 8-year-old child has no beliefs on the government system except, does it let me out on school on Fridays? That's it.
I mean, it shouldn't get to the point where you're like, you better not stand up for the national anthem. You're getting a whooping.
I think it's their
Did you
choice.
just say that again? Gabby, please, one more time.
You'll hear it on the playback.
Oh.
Anyways, what were we talking about? Y'all want to
We're just talking about how how KT feels that patriotism isn't important, and I should see. This is what I'm talking about. Like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, if someone says that patriotism isn't important to them, and then everyone's like, "Oh my God, shameful! You're awful! Like, you should be unified with
patriotism.
You should be unified with your country." You should do this with your country and that with your country. It's a difference
between patriotism and unity. I can say I'm down for this country all day, but if I'm over here selling secrets to Al Qaeda, then I'm really not. Unity is when you stand beside your brother or sister in America, because this is like Gabby said, this is where you live, and you should want to feel safe here. You may feel safe here. I may feel safe here.
I mean, most folks, when it comes down to it.
Well, if you don't do your part to help, don't say that I want to stand out and I don't really care, but you don't feel safe. So, what? That's a contradiction.
How is that a contradiction? Like, I just don't feel that it's important. It doesn't matter. So what about, hold on a second, because you guys have been going ham on me.
Oh, gosh.
Give me just a moment here.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Oh.
Okay, patriotism is not important to me for the sole fact that like you said, there are multiple. This is a melting pot of people that live here. There are Muslims. There are, African Americans. There's black people. There's white people. There's everything. Mexican Americans. There's everything. So why should I, a white person, say, why should I think that it's so important? Patriotism is so important that I should have to stand for the flag and be this way. Like, I understand that you guys are not. You guys are saying patriotism is deeper than just standing for the flag.
It is,
but to me, it's not that deep. It's really not that deep. It's like
when it's not as deep as getting the flags or whatever. I think patriotism. I think we're America. We're all caught up in the overt patriotism,
and we're so we think we're so supreme to everyone else when we're not as great as everyone thinks we are.
This is the definition for patriotism. Go ahead, Gabby.
I was going.
I'm sorry.
Because us as Americans, we're in this consumer market or whatever. We think patriotism is simply buying the flags, wearing American flags, standing up, doing all the lip service or whatever. I think patriotism is in my opinion, the definition of patriotism should be doing whatever you can to help the people that live in your country live a better life, or just to help your country thrive. So I think the most patriotic people are the people that are working to help those in need, the ones that are just helping to make our country better. It's not you standing up or you sitting down or doing
I
feel
whatever. That.
I think if you really love your country like you say you do, then you should be all out here helping with the battered women, helping the children that don't have food to eat, helping these people that are on drugs, addicted.
And not just saying America.
That's true.
That is patriotism right there. Now that is okay. That is right. That's how I feel. But as for standing for the flag, for being the generic patriotic hillbilly guy who has American flag on the back of his truck, as for the generic fake patriotism, I don't think that stuff is important. And it never will be, not to make the country better.
I agree. But okay, definition of patriotism to me, I don't want to look it up or whatever, but it's just you have to feel emotionally connected to the nation that you live in, or to America. Since I'm talking about America specifically. Do I like America? Sometimes. Do I like the rules that America gives? Sometimes. Mm-hmm. Do I think everybody's treated the same in America? Heck to the niznai no. Mm-hmm. That was a little urban.
Really?
Quote urban. But absolutely not. We're not all treated the same. Does America need work? Hells yes. Ooh, I was trying to, kid it up, but whatever. Hells yes. America needs improvement economically, racially, any kind of America needs help. There are people here who would rather die than see another black president.
That's true.
Who would rather die than admit that, hey, racism is real, or hey, black lives do matter. I get that and I understand that. But when I speak about patriotism, I mean you have to have a person who has an emotional connection to the country that they're living in. If not for any other reason than for the reason that, hey, I live here and I want to be safe. That I need to do my part in helping out those people who are fighting for our country, whether it's vote, whether it's send care packages, or whether it's going overseas to provide therapy, or whatever you can do. That's what I mean. You do. when you say you have no patriotism, to me, a person is not a person who burns a flag, or a person who, because I felt many times that the flag has needed to be burnt on my, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Agreed.
I agree with that. Sometimes a statement has to be made, and that's the way to get people's attention. I do understand that, but. And I don't mean standing for the Pledge of Allegiance or putting your hand over your heart and mumbling the words. I don't mean that. I mean exactly what I said. People who do what they can, not for, like Gabby said, for the people, but for the country in general. If we are in a time of war, and we have to be unified on the fact that, hey, we want to be safe, and these are the precautions, these are the measures that we need to take to be safe. Now, do I agree with all the precautions and measures? Heck no. But I do agree that we need some. I don't want to be that. I will not be the person who says, I don't agree with what y'all are doing, so I'm not going to stand with you all at all. I'm going to be a pariah. I'm going to make myself a pariah.
I mean,
That's
but
not-
don't you think that would have been beneficial during the Iraq War? Like that war was pretty much, even the Republican people now, they're
Yeah.
saying that was a terrible.
Useless.
It was a terrible idea. It caused many lives to be killed for no reason, for lies, pretty much. I think. So blind patriot, yeah, you're not talking about blind patriotism, but I think blind patriotism when like dealing with war and stuff is not good either, because as we know from history, Vietnam and Iraq, that America, most of the time these folks really aren't doing anything to us, like attacking us anymore. You might have a couple little lone people here and there, but it's mainly just us starting mess because of financial interests and stuff like that. So
Okay, so I'm reading something here now, and I'm reading about, basically it says that patriotism encourages unjustified hatred and distrust.
Who is that by?
This is by, I don't know, something that I was reading.
Some random person
Yeah,
online?
some random person
Oh,
online,
okay.
basically. So not a real source, but this is the
that's
they
an
do have
idea.
real
Okay,
sources
yeah, go
in
off on
them.
that idea.
Huh?
I said expound on that idea. If you
Yeah,
think
that's what
it's
I'm
true.
saying. Like, it's not a real source, but I'm expanding on the idea. Basically, it basically says that patriotism has a mentality that is them and us. Like,
In a time of war, it is. It's them or it's us. Now, I don't mean us as in black people or white people. I mean us as in America. In a time of war, when people are trying to hurt you, let me just tell y'all something. If me and my sister are
but
fighting,
not everyone in Iraq or not everyone
I agree
in
with
Middle
that.
Eastern countries are out here trying to murder us.
I agree with
So
that.
one extreme group of people does not mean that everyone else is like that, and
I
that's
agree
where
with
the
that.
them versus us mentality
That
comes
is
from.
I get
Them
that.
versus us. You're saying that everyone over there, oh my God, how could they just murder us? They're just
That's
coming
how-
over here,
that's
and
the
that's just
reason-
too
No,
extreme.
Well,
that's
not
just
what
so
I'm
much.
saying. Let me
It's
let
not
me rectify
them versus
myself.
us. It is our troops versus an extreme group of people that we're going into a different country to try to take care of, which I have not seen any, and I don't know, maybe I'm just not doing my own research, but I have not seen anything here recently that states that I should be afraid of Muslim people, because it's just the mentality that people that are so patriotic have is too extreme for me, and I
I
cannot
agree.
do that.
Let me
I
rectify
can't.
myself. I agree with what you're saying as far as them versus us. When I say them versus us, let me tell you what I'm really concerned about here.
Okay.
And so I'm really not even that patriotic at all. But I have to say that when people talk about the war, let's talk about who's really behind the war. The government is behind the war. But when we take our frustrations out on our soldiers, they're over there fighting for us, regardless of whether or not they are in
Lord, that is a
war.
whole nother topic.
But that's what I'm talking about. When I say patriotic, I mean supporting.
You mean supporting the troops?
Supporting the troops.
But
that's
what does support the troops
can't do it.
mean? What does that mean?
I can't do it.
That means let's not have another Vietnam War where when the soldiers come back, we're spitting in their faces.
Yeah,
Because we don't
I don't
agree
think
with
that's
that.
happening.
That's not happening. Yeah.
I think most
But
people.
what I'm saying is though, what
That's
I'm
Vietnam.
saying is that people I've heard. Let me just tell you my experiences.
Okay.
I have heard a lady, I don't know, it was a lady, a man, it was a group of people who just came back from war a week or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
They were in class with us, and we had this discussion, and these hypocritical people who would never fight for another person, much less a country, had something to say, something negative to say to the people who went over there and risked their lives.
And
I'm
sorry.
What necessarily did they say?
Yeah, because to me,
it was okay. It was in the sense. I don't want to say exactly what they said because that was vulgar. It showed. I don't even want to repeat it. Basically, they said that you think you're a big hero because you went over there for a war that we don't even need to be fighting, and you probably hurt some people that didn't need to be hurt.
Bam.
Well,
but I think that's not fair to them.
you're right. It's not fair to them because
Wait, I'm sorry. It's not fair to who?
the soldiers.
The soldiers.
She just said it's because when you attack somebody, they are doing what they think is what they want to serve their country. Now, when you serve your country, you're following orders, regardless of whether those orders, you only know that this person is supposed to, in government, is telling you what needs to happen to save your country. You don't know if this really needs to happen or not. You're a soldier. You follow orders, and when you follow orders, you're protecting America over there.
Even if
And
you
people
did,
who shake their head make me so upset because
sorry. I just can't.
if you're not willing to go, I'm not willing to go over there and
Yeah,
fight
me either.
at all. And so I have the utmost respect for people who do, because if I'm going in a different country, a different whatever, risking my life so that I can sit here and have this talk show and opinions on it, I'm not
They're
going.
not fighting for our rights.
But I don't
What
think-
rights are
Katie,
they
I don't
That's
think
the
that's-
government's
hold
fault.
on,
That's
hold on,
not
hold
the soldiers' fault.
right?
though.
I agree.
That's
that
the government's fault. When I say patriotic, I mean support our soldiers. Plain and simple. No them versus us. No none of that. I just mean support the people who are fighting for you. Supporting the people who are fighting for me are not supporting our government. Those are two different
fighting for us. They're not. They're not fighting for our rights.
But hold on, here's my thing.
Like you just
Wait,
said,
wait.
like you just said, you said that someone is giving them these orders to go over there and do such and such. They're not fighting for our right. There is no one.
So what are they fighting for?
Honestly, to be 100% with you, I do not
So
know.
people just enjoy risking their lives. They enjoy
That's up to them.
being
That's
blown
not
up by
up to them.
IEDs. So you're telling me that every person who has died in the war,
That's up to them, not up to me.
in the war, has had it coming because they're just simply over there for no reason.
That's not what I'm saying.
But that's what you're saying.
That
If you're going to say something, you should own up
right
to it.
now. What rights are they fighting for over there when we have rights here in America that we are trying to fight for? It's just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. We should start here in America first before we try to fight some war over in a different country. It just doesn't add up. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I think you can be.
It doesn't make sense.
I think you can support the troops and not support what the government's doing for the simple fact that most of these people, we already know, they join the army not because they love America so much, but because they need money. They're trying to pay for
Exactly.
their
Trying to get out of a
college.
place.
They need a
They're trying to do
job.
whatever.
At the
So
same
I
time,
think we should sympathize with them And we're not saying you're just, I loved everything you did. You were just amazing over there. You really fought for our freedoms, because you might not believe that. What you can say is, I thank you for sacrificing your life because I couldn't do it. And if you don't do it, we might have to go back to drafts. And I'm glad that I'm not drafted in. And I will support the VA. I will support the Veteran Affairs when you get out of service. So I don't think you have to, just because we understand that, especially now, these soldiers are fighting for corporations and financial gains and all this other political crap, of course, trash. That doesn't mean that we don't disrespect people like that, because even though they weren't fighting for the right reasons, these people come back and some people thought they were fighting for the right reasons. They come back with PTSD. They come back messed up. Maybe they figured out they weren't fighting for the right reasons, so now they got guilt and they're feeling suicidal or whatever, and you're not really helping the issue. You dogging them out is not changing anything.
You go and do something
again, I completely understand where you're coming from, Gabby, 100%, because that's absolutely true. Everything that you said, everything you said is absolutely true. They are, I still don't believe they're fighting for our right to do something. Like you said, they're fighting for corporations. They're fighting for other political reasons.
What normal people who join the military think. They don't think, I'm going to go fight for a corporation.
I've never said that.
They fall for the propaganda that they're fighting for the country. And if they do that, I digress. I just
don't think it's.
I'm just done.
I'm sorry. You can be done, and that's okay. I just don't think that they're fighting for us.
We understand. Okay, here's we're gonna get a synopsis of this, and you're gonna get an understanding. Hold on. Everybody understands right now that these troops are not fighting for us. Everybody understand that?
Yes.
You talk about in America, just between the three
right
of us.
now, as far as like being in Iraq and all this other crazy stuff, majority of the time they're not fighting specifically for us and our rights.
People no. Some
okay,
people
so
don't
we understand. I mean, I'm talking about us three.
Oh, well, we three.
So we can all get an understanding. So we understand that. We understand that we still should support the troops in the fact that supporting them when they get out of war, and not just being nasty to them just because we don't agree with the war or whatever. We understand just showing decent respect you would show to anybody
against a human.
Yes.
Okay.
So we all understand that. So where is the divide coming in this conversation? I think we're all on the same page.
Probably because I'm shaking my head.
Wait, what you shaking your head for?
Because I don't know how to explain it other than I don't support the troops. Like, I don't support them specifically. I support human rights, and I support treating a human with respect and understanding that they are going over there underneath their own. They're doing that themselves to supposedly, it's not to help us out, because that's not the right words, but they're going over there for themselves. Like you said, maybe underneath they're trying to get out of a certain predicament in their life. I understand that. But I do not support war. Period. I don't care what the war is. I don't support war. And I don't support that at all. And I would never do it myself because I don't support it. I'm never going to do it, and I will never support it.
I would love for you to tell the men and women in uniform.
Okay, so I will. I mean, I would.
Please.
That doesn't hurt
I'm
me.
I'm gonna bring somebody to this show.
Okay.
And I would love for you to tell them that
I don't support the war.
No. You didn't say.
I did say that I don't support the war.
But you didn't just say that. You also said I do not support our troops. That is what you said.
No, I said I support humans. I support human rights. I did say that. But you guys are not listening. I support humans.
You support humans. You support
and
human
I
rights.
support them going over there and doing whatever it is to support themselves and whatever it is that they do. But I do not support war and armies, military. I do not support any of that
Have you ever been scared for your life?
Yes, I have been very scared for my life before.
Okay. Now, imagine that feeling. in a different space than you're used to. Imagine
That has
that
happened to me.
feeling every day for how many years?
Again, like I said, I support humans and how they feel. I support them feeling a certain way. I support PTSD. I understand that they are going over there and doing something underneath underneath pretenses that I would never do. I understand that. I'm not inconsiderate of other humans' feelings. I understand that they are coming back here and no one is funding VAs. I understand that, but I do not support anyone going to war, and I don't support any type of negative connotations or guns. Like, I just, none of that
I
makes
think
sense to me.
the problem was with you saying you don't support the troops.
I don't care about war. I don't support the war either. Do I think we should be over there now? No. Do I think that, what else did you say? You don't support guns? I believe that everybody
So
has
then
a
maybe
right.
you're not understanding what I'm saying.
No, I understand
then.
what you're saying perfectly, but I also don't agree that you need an automatic 54 or however you say that to
AR-15.
protect yourself in your home. I just think that's absurd and unrealistic. But
Right.
I support the people who are going over there
Which
and
is
risking their lives.
exactly what I said. I support the humans.
The humans,
And I
but
support
it's a
them going.
You're
Not going, but I support their
minimalizing the
things.
situation by saying that you support humans but not the troops. It's like saying I support Republicans but I support Donald Trump but I'm not racist. What?
No, that's not
That's
the
the exact
same
same
thing.
thing. That's the exact same thing.
What
I'm so
does
sorry.
wait
Not
what
the
does
same
what
thing.
does let's just go
I'm
define
not
this
feeling very
term.
joyful today, y'all.
What does supporting the troops even mean?
Right.
Let's
What does
talk,
that
let's
even
talk about
mean?
this for a second because we're kind of arguing over this point. We don't even really have a definite
Like
term
what?
for supporting the troops.
My
How can you
definition?
support the troops? Yes.
My definition of supporting the troops is to not say or belittle or do anything that belittles them when they come back. And if they're dressed in uniform for Veterans Day, say your thanks.
Who said I would do that?
But I'm just saying, when I say support the troops, I mean send random care packages over there to people because I do.
Do you send care packages to people here in America too?
No,
Oh,
because nobody's over there risking their life.
no one. Do you help the homeless?
Here?
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah,
You go to soup kitchens and stuff like that?
sometimes.
Do you I'm trying to think what else is there. Do you donate to charities here?
I do.
Okay. I feel you. Okay. I'm just asking because I mean you're just talking about how you go ham for the troops, but I was just making sure you going
when
ham
I
for
say
us
go
too.
ham, I'm not going ham.
But
quote
you
quote
are.
for
You're
anybody.
kind of screaming, and
What
this
I'm
is talk it
saying-
out. So we talk. We don't
What
scream.
I'm
Oh.
saying, I'm so very passionate. I'm sorry for screaming, but
It's
I'm
okay.
so very passionate about. You don't have to support our government. You don't have to even support the war, but you should, in my opinion,
Show respect.
show respect.
That's what I think it all boils
to the
down
troops.
to. Yeah.
Now, you don't even have to quote unquote support them, but when you make negative comments and you belittle them and you say that they're not doing anything and they're not fighting for us and they're not blah 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 this, and it gets to the point where you could say the same thing about any minority race here.
I think no, that's too much.
It is.
Ha-
If you're gonna
give us
say
an example.
if
Yeah,
you're
give us an
okay
example.
for somebody to say, like the same example, when the guy who was saying hypocritical things and demeaning things to the soldiers in my classroom,
I just want to know how that's hypocritical.
it's hypocritical because you can say, oh, you probably went over there and did some bad things, but you do bad things in America. Every one of us do bad things here. You know what I mean? So you can't say, oh, you did bad things. Or because if you were willing to tell a soldier that he probably killed somebody who probably didn't deserve it, then I want to see you at the jails telling every murderer and attempted murderer the same thing. That's why it's hypocritical. Because if you can tell somebody who's going over there to fight for the country,
I'm sorry.
I don't think it's hypocritical. I think
I don't
it's just
think it is
sad.
either.
It's sad, and it's like
Whatever. Wrong use of words, KT. Good gosh.
Okay.
Look, Gabby always calls me a hypocrite, so I know what that word means. But I mean, at the end of the day, I support humans and our rights and supporting. And I think Gabby is right. I think the whole supporting the troops, I'm kind of saying the same thing, except not saying I support the troops. Because to me, supporting the troops is supporting the troops, the war, and everything that goes along with it. Okay. To me, supporting the troops is not just the humans and who the people are themselves. Because to me, I support the humans. I don't support the propaganda, the lies, everything that goes on when a war goes, or even when we're just going over there to fight. Like, that just, I don't know. We don't get enough information. The media controls how we see things. So to us, we are seeing...
Don't support the war. I agree.
Right. To us, we're seeing that all Muslims are bad, and we have absolutely no clue what's even going on. So
I agree with you in that sense.
Then when I say I don't support the troops, it's not that I don't support the humans and that I don't support how they feel.
Humans. They are soldiers. They are. That's like,
but no, because
that's
like you saying I support the humans, but I don't support the job that they're doing. So that means I can still show you respect,
right?
But I don't have to agree with, like when we were talking about
what you're doing.
Opinions.
Exactly.
Okay, you don't have to agree with it.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Wonderful,
exactly
wonderful
what
breakdown,
I'm trying to say.
Gabby. Because you don't have to support what they're doing, but you should respect.
I'm not
them.
going to come up to you and tell you something nasty.
Why would I do that? That's so rude. That's like me going up to Gabby. No, I'm just saying that's like me going up to Gabby and calling her the N-word. Like, that's just so disrespectful. I would never do that.
But what I got upset with you for is because people who say that they don't support the troops, that's what they do. Because that's in my mind right now. I keep picturing this dude in class going off and saying how he didn't support what they're doing, and that's one of the words that he used.
I don't support what they're doing.
Phrases that he used, like, I don't support the troops, and then he started his rant. And it just, I guess her saying that was the flashback. I'm so sorry if I offended you here, because I feel kind of bad now that we're calming things down and I'm not in the heat of the moment.
Wait. Was this in college when that dude?
Yes.
Was one of the veteran guys a black dude?
No.
Okay. Because that kind of happened to me.
It was a black girl and two white guys.
Black girl. Does the black girl have like a high pitched voice?
I don't actually even kind of remember, because she was just backed away. She was like, I don't have time for this. I know what I did and I know what I stand for. But the other guys, the two white guys, they were going ham.
But I do remember there was this guy in one of my classes. He was a veteran. And we were talking something about media, and we talked about 9/11 a little bit, and we talked about how the media portrays politics, and then we started talking about war. And it kind of got heated with him too, because most of us, we're college kids. We've read up on things. We understand the Iraq War is not all it was cut out to be.
Exactly.
But the thing is, you're dealing with people that have fought, and at the time when they were fighting, they probably did think they were doing the right thing. And then for them to finally understand, even if they ever do get to that point, dang, I didn't did all this. I didn't kill people. I didn't done all this, and
they
it wasn't even
in their own stance.
But even when they have that change, it's like, I'm surprised. I think that's kind of why, like, the suicidal rate is so high. For not only are you, because you're killing people, but you're just realizing everything you've done, and then you're really realizing, dang, that there was really no weapons of mass destruction, and I didn't hurt all these people and my friends and got killed and all this stuff. Anyways, so we were talking, and the guy, he was getting real offended. I mean, the stuff we were saying was true, but you kind of, I guess when you're in that space, you kind of have some cognitive dissonance, because you're like, you're kind of trying to justify what you've done.
Right.
So he was just kind of lashing out on everybody, and it was kind of being erratic. So we were all kind of just taken aback, and some folks, they were being immature and like laughing, and somebody threw up a eraser at the man and all that stuff. Like, it was just crazy.
Yeah,
but it was just, I don't know. It's that wasn't the right response. there really was nothing we could have done to stop him from feeling the way that he felt. There was nothing he could have done to stop us from feeling the way that we felt.
I don't want to stop anybody from feeling the way that they feel. I just have to say what I feel as well.
Right. I just that just reminded me of that instance in college, and yeah. So, but on the flip side, there are plenty of troops that now understand, like what had happened. Like maybe they did come in there thinking they were going to change the world. Maybe they just came in there for money, and then now they're kind of just like, wow. All of this I was just a puppet and a tool, and there's no cognitive dissonance. They just understand what's going on. Yeah. So it's not just like all the troops that come back. They're like, oh, yay. Some of them come back and they're like, oh, dang. You know.
Like, oh my God, what was I doing?
It's different stories. But anyways, no matter if they're happy about what they did or if they're sad about what they did, we should all just be respectful. We should be respectful of everybody.
No, yeah, I agree with that. We should be respectful of everyone. And I don't agree with what the guy was saying, like, in your class, Joy. Like, I mean, he was obviously being, like she said, being very mature. You shouldn't, like, go ham and just be screaming at someone because you don't like that they're in a war. Like, as I was saying, I respect the actual humans themselves, just not what they're doing. Yeah, right. So.
And I accept that.
But yeah, that's it.
But on the flip side, I want to ask a conspiracy theory. I'm sorry, I want to make this kind of funny. Do you guys think that Bush did 9/11? Was it
actually not funny?
Did y'all see that movie? Did you see
Loose Change?
Is Bush a lizard?
What movie you talking about? Loose Change?
I don't know, but I know it's a movie that they show us in school.
Bush did 9/11.
Well, they showed me in school.
Was like a documentary movie?
Yeah, it's like a documentary type
it's probably
movie.
Loose Change.
Oh my gosh. He just sat there.
Well, after he got the news.
His face didn't react at all. And he should take some acting classes, because at least if that had happened, we would have had some doubt.
Right.
But he didn't react. He kept reading to the children, and he didn't say, hey, I have to cut this short, but I'm going to give it to your teacher. And go out and scream or anything. Right. There was no reaction. There was no anything. And I'm just sitting here like, oh, yeah, he did it.
Do you think
I don't know
that Bush is a lizard?
No.
I can't do it.
I'm going on my inside job thing. This is what I think. Y'all want to hear my conspiracy?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Yes. So I think I remember, this is kind of all, I haven't seen that documentary in like 5 years. But they said something like, the FBI had gotten tipped off on what was going to happen, like before.
Yep.
And they were saying how, actually, Building 7 didn't get hit by a plane, but Building 7 crashed the same time that the Twin Towers crashed, going back to that. But it's just like, even if, let's say, Bush didn't orchestrate this terrorist attack thing, he sure as heck capitalized off of it and used it to fill up his pockets. That's what makes it shady. Like, how do you come from, we know these people are in Afghanistan, but yet we end up in Iraq because of some oil. That's what makes people kind of be like right. Like, how do you even take that quantum leap to that? It just makes it seem like
a big word.
But then it's like
quantum leap.
Then it's like, because, dang, if he did do it, dang, that dude is a terrible man. And then all these people died. So it kind of makes it hard to believe, but it's possible. Because it's just this whole situation that happened is just so absurd. Somebody or some people were in it doing something. That's all I can say. I don't think it was cut dry. I think there was something up.
Yeah, it had to be something.
There was something up.
And you're right. Multiple places did get hit on the same day. It was like, I don't remember which building.
Was it someplace in Kansas?
No, it maybe it was. I don't know, but it was multiple places that got hit all in one day, and it's just like,
And then they say that the people, all they had was like razor blades, and they were able to take over the plane.
Like, that just
Or did they have explosives?
I don't know. If it was razor blades, then
I think it was just razor blades.
What? I never even heard of this.
Anyways, it's just a hoot. But is George Bush a lizard? Absolutely.
Okay, well, I don't even know what you mean by lizard. What is a lizard?
You don't know what
a lizard.
Oh,
Just a regular
The
lizard, like a
remember, they
reptile.
have like this whole thing. Go on YouTube. They have this
Hold
whole
on, let
thing
me
on
see if I
like
can pull it
the
up.
reptilian people, and it's
Yeah.
like the people in the Illuminati. They're really not people. They're really reptiles.
oh my God! Please don't
And they
start with the
pull
Illuminati.
their
Please
stuff
don't
on,
start with the
and
Illuminati.
anyway,
We need to put that Bush is a reptilian in
I
here.
already said he was. I confirmed
And it was
I
hilarious.
talked to him, and
We need
oh
an
yeah, my
Illuminati video.
granddaddy.
Wait,
that's estranged from me. He works at the What?
wait. You spoke to President Bush?
Yes.
Yes, I did. And I said my grandfather, who I don't talk to, but I talk to sometimes, he works at the Pentagon, and he told me that George Bush is a reptilian.
Yeah, he cut his
What?
tail off, and then
Wait.
it grew back.
I'm so confused. Stop, KT. What? You spoke to President Bush?
I spoke to him yesterday.
Oh, okay. So that was sarcastic. Oh.
Are you serious?
You know, I would have had some pictures, man. I would have been told you that.
I'm about to say, I'm just now learning about this.
No.
What happened?
But yeah. So, Audible trial.
Okay. Don't forget to sign up for audibletrials.com/talkitout.
Yo, they got so many books on George Bush and September 11th on Audible.
Yes.
Read up on it so you can educate us, because you know we really weren't on our P's and Q's because we weren't there in September 11th.
No,
were
we're
eight.
just going off of how we feel about things. So
But y'all, listen to these audiobooks and tell us what we got wrong, what we got right. Let's
And we might
continue
do
the
another
conversation.
story.
We can do a part 2 on Bush and 9/11. So make sure you hit us up. Yo,
And
there's
reptiles.
1,800 titles that you can choose from. You get this membership, this free membership, and then you get a free audiobook. Make sure you go to audibletrial.com/talkitout and check it out.
Check it out. All right. Well, I want to end with the quote for the day, like I always do. Since this is about 9/11, I thought, why not end it with a 9/11 quote? What separates us from
I was doing the background music. I'm sorry. Continue. Go ahead. I'm doing the
my
background
mouth
music
is
for it.
gaping.
I'm doing the background music for it.
Okay. What separates us from the animals? What separates us from the chaos is our ability to mourn people we've never met. David Leviathan on 9/11.
And the whole
Of the bride. Yeah. Talk it out.
This is K.T.
This is Joy.
And this is Gabby.
And this is Talking Out.
This is Talk It Out.
Talk it
wait,
out.
Before we go, make sure we want to shout out everybody for listening to our podcast.
Oh, yes,
our
yes,
feminism one has almost 200 plays on SoundCloud and
I know.
almost 200 downloads on iTunes. So thank you everybody who's been supporting us. Make sure you go to our facebook.com/talkitoutpodcast, instagram.com/talkitoutpodcast. We're on Google Play now.
Ooh.
We're on Stitcher.
Ooh.
We are on pretty much wherever you can listen to a podcast. We're on there.
Hold on,
And
because I wanna shout out some of our people that
I
have
wasn't
mentioned
done.
stuff. Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead. I thought you were gonna.
The shade, you guys. The shade.
email talkitoutpodcast@yahoo.com. Make sure you hit us up, give us comments, tell us what you think about it. And we've got a lot of big things planned, so you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. And we got something special coming next week. Tuesday's gonna come next week. Tuesday's coming next week.
And I'm
Literally and figuratively.
yeah.
I was about to say literally too, right?
Anyways, just Talking Out Podcast.
Oh my gosh. These guys are crazy.
I'm Gabby.
I'm Joy.
And I interrupt everyone.
And this
That's
is Talk It Out.
KT.
This is Talk It Out. Let's talk it out. Thank you.
Have a great one.